Guys, chapter 1139. First off, I just want to say we are 2 for 2 on Who's Who with some of the absolute hardest cover photos, but Who's Who looks way too freaking tough right now. Yet again, dude. We've now read the chapter. Scabber Gaban is now officially introduced, the left arm of the Pirate King, man. How many chapters do I think it'll take for them to get the key? For them to actually get the key? You know, the Elbaf pacing has been pretty fast so far, dude. You're gonna say 2 chapters? I'd say 2 chapters is fair. 2 max, because with the way this pacing is going so far, I feel like they're kind of just getting to the point and moving to the next area pretty quick in each one. We're getting so much lore in every single chapter right now. Like, I'm so used to One Piece not giving us to be honest with you. I'm so used to just everything always being shrouded in mystery and us never actually getting the real answers we want and honestly just getting more questions as always. But really right now, like, I feel like Oda has like kind of turned a corner where he is really willing to start giving us like the real information. Do I think this is a Zoe type arc or another Egghead situation? I think it's a Zoe type arc with Egghead implications, you know what I'm saying? So it is going to get, like, we're going to get a couple crazy fights and stuff, but I do still hope that this is going to be more of a training arc, and like hopefully Scopper ends up just training everybody. The King of Hell versus the Guardian of Hell makes too much sense not to happen, not to mention Zoro almost always take the swords. Exactly, dude. And I do want to point this out. A lot of people have been calling like Cerberus or whatever like Shamrock's devil fruit, but it's not his devil fruit. The Cerberus is within the sword. Like, that's a sword specific ability. So either the sword has like eaten a devil fruit, or the sword just has some kind of crazy lit underworld powers that we don't fully understand. So if Zoro, the King of Hell, or someone trying to be the King of Hell were to fight, I mean, it would make sense that they're going to fight Cerberus, the Guardian to Hell. Like, it all makes way too much sense. But me and Zen came up with this, like, kind of like light theory that we've been cooking on of, so what would Figarland's transformation be? You know, assuming that Shamrock has Cerberus. And Zen came up with Typhon, which is the Greek king of monsters, and it's the strongest monster in the Greek pantheon. The biggest thing about Typhon is the father of Cerberus, and Shamrock's the son of Figarland, so it would make sense that somehow, some way, Figarland represents Typhon in Greek mythology, which would just be crazy. The fact that the demonic circle stays there, so that's something that I actually was kind of curious about, and this is confirming for me. So we haven't ever seen like what happens with the demonic circles. We've seen these demonic circles appear, and I've been cooking with Jet and a couple other people in the chat about magic playing a much bigger role in the late game of this story. Not that magic is brand new, because I'm getting crucified for saying magic is a new power system. It's not a new power system, but it's a power system that has not been presented as a power system whatsoever in this entire story. It certainly has not been fleshed out, and we've only seen very niche instances of it, and there doesn't seem to be a way to, like, it's never been explained how to train it, where it comes from, how you do it, any of that. This gives us more context on what magic is in this world to the day-to-day people of this world than any other chapter that we've got that I'm aware of so far. So this circle is here. The big implication here, in my opinion, let's talk about how big the circle is. The circle is absolutely freaking massive. Like, look at how small homie is right here. Like, that's crazy, dude. Itty bitty little guy on this circle. And this circle, from what we're aware of, was only used to summon Shamrock and Gunko. And they're normal-sized people from what we're aware of. Like, they're not giant-sized people, they're normal-sized people. Why is the circle so big? That could be referencing the fact that they're summoning a third Holy Knight here. And that third Holy Knight could be a big boy. like that might be an implication, it might not be. I would just like to point that out as something that I find interesting. Like, that is freaking crazy. That's like Egghead size. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like the size of bringing the Gorosei as their fully transformed versions. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what that circle feels like it's trying to bring in, right? So that's an interesting thing. But the other concept is these circles don't go away. So, like, if you were to go to Egghead, assuming Egghead was, you know, still in existence, you'd see all the circles for all the Gorosei still sitting in that spot. How's that work? Like, why does the circle not go away? Like, would they make it go away in certain situations and they didn't in this one because they're still using it? Does it go away once you're fully done using the portal? Questions. These are all questions I have no answers for, but just seeing this is very, very interesting, man. They wanted Loki, that circle is to take Loki back. Dude, brilliant explanation for that. They're trying to get Loki, they're trying to bring a giant back, so they need to send a giant circle here. That's a perfect explanation. I mean, there it is. I love that a lot, actually. Again, they actually talk about magic. Like, magic what? Like, I love that they're using the word magic. For me, that's like a big thing with this theory that we've been cooking with Jet, because, like, again, the word magic isn't used lightly in this. And when it is, it's still used in a mysterious way. Like, someone says devil fruits, and you don't get that level of surprise anymore, right? But someone says magic, and they're like, ooh. The magic circle was there before the third Holy Night was talking about. Maybe the circle goes away when they go back through it. And that could be the other thing, too. Maybe it'll go away when they go back. But granted, couldn't they just, like, get, like, teleported like right back from like wherever they are at the end of this mission? I don't know. It would be interesting. It sounds odd to me that Shamrock and Gunko would have to would get summoned in the castle, go all the way from the castle to the underworld. Let's just say everything was successful and Loki agreed. They get Loki, they unchain him, they dap him up, and then they have to walk all the way back up to like the overworld, or the main world, Sun World, maybe, is that what they call it? And then they go all the way back to the castle, and then they teleport back. That just sounds like a whole lot. And if you can just do a magic circle, why wouldn't the magic circle just appear right the fuck in front of Loki, right? Like, why wouldn't you just put it right in front of Loki? Boom, you pull up, you talk to Loki, he's like, nah, or yeah, and then you're out, right? Like, I don't know. It's interesting that they chose to start in the castle. I just think that is somehow something interesting right there, right? Lily, Joy Boy's wife, and mad at her husband's betrayal. See, I was a big proponent of that, like, you know, Lily and Joy Boy were an item, and Emu being the third person is like a jealous whatever. I'm not convinced on that anymore, but I'm not saying I'm throwing that idea out the window. I'm just not so sure, because I really do think that, like, Emu themselves are, I'm leaning more towards Emu is Lily, or at least seemingly looks very much like Lily for some reason, and that's why they're being hidden. We finally get this reveal of Mr. Ya, and we've obviously been thinking and theorizing, and everyone's been saying, oh, it's definitely going to be Shiki or whatever. This seems like Oda's answer to Shiki, because, dude, his character design is almost just like Shiki's. It really is so damn close. It's kind of crazy. But the left hand of Gold Roger, homie who could stand up with the likes of Rayleigh, the Mountain Eater, which, oh, what a nickname for a million different reasons, dude. He bagged the baddie that we all know and love here in Elbaf, giving us some crazy lore. It's all nuts, dude. It's all nuts. I love the concept of him being like, man, I'd love to go to Wano now that Luffy's taking care of Kaido and everything. Dude is just crazy lit. I really think he is going to be the catalyst of the training arc now. I think he's going to train probably everyone but Luffy. Maybe not Zoro either, because it really does seem like this particular chapter, this arc, is putting Luffy and Zoro together, which I love and I hope persists, but probably won't, because they're the two strongest. But I could see Luffy off and going to do his own thing, Zoro following him to try to keep Luffy in check, because he's been doing that heavily, like, up until this point in this particular arc. But then the rest of the Straw Hats stay behind and actually start training with Scopper. I think that would be super cool. I think that would be super freaking cool. This panel right here, one of the best panels that Oda's ever written, in my opinion. It's so important, and we need to say it louder for the people in the back. I just love it. Love is free. There are many mixed blood races throughout history. The Buccaneers, the Dosundata, the long arms, the long legs, and the Wotans. These blended peoples don't tend to last long, but in every era, there have always been those who are more open-minded. Best moment of the chapter, in my opinion, dude, the best moment of the chapter, for me personally, and this is just like a me thing, I'm not saying it's like the most influential moment of the chapter, but right here, when homie starts like talking, like for real yapping, and Luffy just turns around, he's like, I think he's gonna be yapping for a while. That was just genuinely hilarious, and it just brings me back to like remembering that this is One Piece. It's our goofy little show about pirates, dude. It's not that serious. I freaking love it, dude. Do I think that Oda will make a new group of characters to go directly against the Holy Knights? No. If anybody's going to go against the Holy Knights, it would be the Revolutionaries, I think, Jewelry. I think that would be that would make the most sense. We're not going to get, I don't think we're going to get a new conglomerate of people. I think that'd be a little bit odd. It's possible, but I don't think it'll happen. As you're yapping about everybody on the crew needs to be a certain level of strength, Buggy was on Roger's crew. As a child, you know, like I mean, that's a good point. That I really want to fight if that's a good point. I feel like Roger's crew was still on a higher level overall, so they were able to protect and keep the other people like kind of back. And also they weren't in such a, I swear, like in my opinion, and this might be just me like being an idiot and you guys can roast me, I feel like it wasn't as hard for Roger to travel the world as it is for a current day pirate to travel the world. Like, The power scale, I'm not saying that the power scale wasn't insane, like with God Valley and stuff like that. And like, I'm not saying that the Roger Pirates weren't strong as all hell. But I am saying that overall, every single stop in the world probably wasn't as powerful and like menacing as it currently is now. I would argue that the world objectively is stronger now than it was then. Not to say that Gold Roger is not as strong as some of these players currently, but just like kind of like that thing. Do I think an admiral is going to land on Elbaf? I'm not sure, and I'm leaning towards no. Why would an admiral come to Elbaf specifically when the government has already sent holy knights there? Like, if we have 2 1/3 on the way of holy knights, why would we also send an admiral? What is the admiral there to do? Why would an admiral come there? I'm not saying that I disagree with that, but like, why, right? What do I think the last Straw Hat will be, or do I think it's someone we haven't met yet? I don't think there's going to be a last Straw Hat. I think we have all 10 right now. I think we're there right now. I think that is a misconception that the fandom has ran with, and I think Luffy's the 10th member. I think he has 9 members plus him, so a 10-member crew. I think we'll have honorary members and stuff like that, as always. If there were to ever be someone else who's going to join the crew, probably be someone like Vivi, but at the same time, it wouldn't make sense because Vivi's going to end up running Alabasta. Someone has to run Alabasta or the world, low-key. Vivi could become the next queen. Granted, I don't think we're going to, when all this, goes away, we're not going to end up having one monarch because that's been the problem of this all. But Vivi's busy running a country. Another great option is someone like Yamato, but guess what? Yamato's busy helping Momonosuke run a country. Maybe Yamato could eventually leave and join them. I would love it. Yamato's my personal #1 pick for another Straw Hat member. I just freaking love Yamato. He's the best. Just truly one of my favorite characters in the entire series. Let alone Yamato's entire connection with Ace and everything would make it just so storybook if Yamato actually ended up filling that space on Luffy's crew. But I don't really think there's going to be... What about Katakuri? Absolutely not. At best, Katakuri is going to end up running all of Big Mom's shit now that Big Mom's technically gone. Because that's the thing, you got to think about, these people are all beholden to their country as well. They still have to look out for their people to some degree. So if we look at the highest person in every single country, that's the least likely person to join the Straw Hats. You know what I'm saying? Vivi is going to have to run her country. She can't do it. Yamato has a potential because Momonosuke is the one doing it. But if everyone was saying Momonosuke is going to be the next member of the crew, that would be, in my opinion, a foolish statement because Momo has to run Wano. So that's kind of the concept. It's like, are these people actually free in their own lives and destinies to be able to do this? These get me every time with how random they are. What do I think the next island is? You're going to say Lodestar. I think Lodestar is a very good potential for next island. I think it's Lodestar, and then we go back to the Grand Line Marie Joie to probably do the big fight. Then it's Laugh Tale. Then it's Epilogue. Is kind of where I'm thinking right now. I think the next Straw Hat we lose is the Sunny. Pluton will replace thanks to Frankie. Dude, I was actually kind of cooking on a theory that the Sunny might actually be like maxing out on what she can do before at least getting upgrades or maybe getting a whole new ship, because Frankie was really interested in the wood that they could potentially be selling of the Atom Tree that's here in Elbaf, which makes me think that Frankie is cooking on some idea to either build a new ship or add a lot of new things to the Sunny. I think Blackbeard's going to attack Wano because of Pluton, and that's how Momo and Yamato end up on Luffy's ship. That could be it. That could be it, Dante. I like that idea. I do like that idea. We do have to go back to Wano for something. So that really could be another arc. We could just straight up get Wano 2, guys, which would be nuts, but like that's very fucking possible. I think we're going to end up back up on previous island before we continue ahead. Rob, yeah. To that point exactly. So maybe not Lodestar next. Maybe next we deadass go back to Wano. Or just some other previous island, dude. Saba Odi 3.0, you kidding me? They gotta upgrade the ship to accommodate a giant. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Golden, because that's another thing. Everyone's like, oh, Loki's gonna join the team. Where the fuck are we gonna put Loki? Even if he did, if we entertain that idea, where is he gonna do? So that really does push me to think that bare minimum, we need a bigger ship, even if just some of the homies are giants. Not even the crew members, but just the homies, you know? And he obviously has a crew of giants on his fleet. So he's directly connected to it. Being in Elbaf, one way or another, I am absolutely guessing that the Sunny's going to get an upgrade. It's got to. It's got to. They don't leave the Sunny behind, but if Frankie fuses with the Sunny, then he would be in need of a new ship. Dude, Frankie fusing with the Sunny would go crazy. They definitely aren't getting rid of the Sunny. I think that's fair. I think that's super fair. Maybe Frankie wants to turn the Sunny into a big fighting robot. I fully see that. Momo going to be like Odin, he did the same. What do you mean? Where he has to go travel the world? I think Momo would learn from the mistakes that Odin made. Because Odin straight up made the choice to let Wano go to shit. And I'm dying on that hill. Odin could have cleaned up shop for one day and then sailed out with the Roger Pirates when he dropped off Momo and his wife, Toki. But dude, if he just chilled on Wano for like 2 or 3 days and took care of Orochi and then just dipped out again and did his whole thing, he could have saved Wano, but he made a pure choice to let Wano go to shit. He pulls up and he's like, damn, there's fucking smokestacks everywhere and shit's kind of bad. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it. It's cool. Yeah, I love Odin, but he messed up. Yeah, dude, and don't get me wrong, I love Odin too, but I'm not you know, so in love with Odin to not like talk shit about the things that he fucked up. And he definitely fucked that up. Blackbeard could open the borders with one hit. Dude, that's the thing though. Blackbeard having the Quake fruit, he can easily destroy that, and I think that'll happen. I actually do think that'll happen. I think that's incredibly likely. Do I think Kizaru is a changed man after Egghead? He took that hard? Yes, I do. Yes, I have. I think Egghead was the breaking point for him. The fact that he straight up said, have you ever had to like kill your best friend or something along those lines to a Kainu, man, the way he snapped on a Kainu, I 100% think Kizaru bare minimum is becoming a gray character as opposed to an antagonist. You don't feel like any Marines are going to be a part of the last war. You feel like they will all turn on the government by that point. I think you're pretty much right. I think there's going to be a few that don't, but at the same time, yeah. Like, and we're also starting to power clip the Marines for real. Emmett the Giant was sent to the future by Toki. That's why he came from nowhere. Facts. I could totally see that, dude. Toki just needs to be talked about more. Why the hell? I feel like we kind of glossed over Toki in the entire story. And, like, she hasn't come back at all in any conversation. And I'm like, she has easily the, like, top 3 most important fruits in the verse. Like, the Hito Hito no Mi model, Luffy's fruit, Law's fruit, and Toki's fruit, dude. Luffy's fruit is a sun god fruit, and the most important one in the series, obviously we know that. Toki's fruit is fucking time travel. Why are we not talking more about that fruit? And if she's dead, then where is it? Who has it right now? So many questions, which I don't think she's dead. I think she just teleported to another important moment in the future, which we haven't made it to, but will make it to soon. But still, that's a question. And then Law's fruit. Immortality. Like, come on, dude. And Law's definitely not out the game. People are still trying to write Law off like he's not in this game anymore. No, he's still in it. Like, he got saved. There was a reason we saw that he actually got saved. You think Sakazuki had a tiny moral compass, but his expression changed when Kizaru said that. Facts. So yeah, I definitely think he's starting to see that everything he's fighting for is not a good thing. Sengoku definitely already sees that. Garp already dipped out and is kind of dying with Kuzan right now. Isho has been kind of against what the government's doing the whole time, but not man enough to actually stand up against it, which is a little frustrating because as much as I love him, like I really do love Fujitora, bro, make a choice, man. Like you're still doing the dastardly things that the government's doing that you don't agree with, dog. Thoughts about Kid coming back? I don't think Kid's going to come back in too big of a capacity, simply for the fact of, in almost back-to-back chapters, we got to see the conclusion of what happened with Kid's arc and what happened with Law's arc. At the end of Kid, it said, like, the narrator said that the Kid Pirates and everyone, or like that whole group was utterly defeated. And that verbiage feels more heavy than the way he said that, like, the Heart Pirates were all defeated. Like they kind of more casually said the Heart Pirates got defeated, like lost a battle. But with Kid, it was like an utter defeat, an absolute defeat, a definitive defeat. So I feel like low-key Kid might end up being like the dude I hate from Dressrosa. Oh my god, with the spring legs. He shows up in like a cover story one day just making flags and stuff like that, and everyone's like, cool, he's making pirate flags and he's living his best life on an island somewhere. I low-key feel like that's kind of how Kid's gonna end up. But also, I would like for Kid to make a difference in the final war. I just don't know how it's gonna go. You don't think Enel is going to come back willingly? You think he's forced back? What if they straight up teleport him back from the moon? What if they use this demon summoning magic? He's just chilling, vibing on the moon with all his moon homies, and then all of a sudden the demonic circle opens up, yoink, he's in it, and then boom, Enel's in the field. That'd be crazy, right? You've been liking my Emu and the Gorosei original theory. Dude, thank you so much, man. Thank you, dude. That is between me and Jet and Zen. So, well, I'll just say this right now. I will never take full credit for any single theory I put out on the internet because it's always a group effort. This is it. We just sit here and we have our little workshop and then I make my little videos about it. But yeah, dude, that, the whole Emu being the leader of the underworld, coming to control the overworld. All the Gorosei are inherently demons that Emu is bringing from the underworld that are able to transform into more human-like bodies. So they're not actually humans. They're demons who look like humans kind of thing. I love the concept of that. Who is Emu? My best guess as to right now is Emu is a demon controlling the body of Nefertari Lily. That's what I think. That's what I think. And part of this little theory that we're working on, as far as, you know, the Gorosei can take more humanoid forms and vice versa, with what I was just talking about. What if the reason the Emu is veiled all the time is because Emu doesn't have a clean, full human-like transition? What if when Emu took over Lily's body, Emu looks mostly like Lily, but maybe has something a little demonic about him, some crazy teeth or something going on, right? Obviously crazy eyes, but the whole, like, the theory of, like, the multi-rings in the eyes referencing multiple, like, personalities or spirits within a body or something like that kind of lends to that. But overall, I would say Emu is probably some version of Lily for some reason. Directly connected to Lily. Let's call it that. Emu blackface confirmed. Guys, that'd be insane. That'd be insane. Don't make me make a Zoro joke. I don't even like the Zoro joke, and now I feel like I just have to make the Zoro joke. And in the most recent video I posted, dude, so guys, hear me out on this. My most recent theory, we were talking about Emu being the king of, or queen of the underworld and bringing their demons up to do this fight. Well, who is trying to be the king of hell? Zoro. So what if Zoro ends up being the one to fight Emu at the very end to officially take his crown as king of hell? And that is kind of how that ends up going. Like, the final fight isn't Luffy and Emu, it's Zoro and Emu. And then during that, Blackbeard pulls up, fucks everything up, and then Luffy has to fight Blackbeard. And that's the actual official big, like, final antagonist fight. I know that's very tinfoil hatty and pretty unlikely, but I think it's a really cool thing to think about. Do I want Emu or Blackbeard to be the final villain? I want Blackbeard to be the final villain. I absolutely want Blackbeard to be the final villain. And I genuinely think he will be. I genuinely think he will be. Not because of the Zoro theory that I just said, and I'm telling you guys, I'm not dying on that hill. I think that's just a fun connection to make with the theory that we did make. Not saying that I actually believe that, but it's just fun to think. But I do truly think that Emu will be defeated first, and then Blackbeard will be the final biggest problem. And low-key, and I know this is even more crazy tinfoil hatty, but what if Blackbeard defeats Emu? What if Blackbeard defeats Emu, somehow gets whatever powers Emu has, and then that becomes the final entity that we all have to fight against to actually beat? That would be insane. You think Blackbeard will pull the rug on Emu? Right? There it is. What if Emu absorbs all of the Gorosei's damage since those demon forms are bestowed on him? I do think that's going to happen. Once they start to fail, Emu's going to absorb all of his power back so he can be as powerful as possible when he goes to fight. So the damage, then you need the Shanks special Haki cancels facts or some insane damage. I do, no matter what, think Haki will be the thing that beats Emu. Emu is purely terrified of Joy Boy's Haki, so it's got to be maxed out Haki that defeats him, which could also be why Emu doesn't like Shanks, because Emu could have initially thought that Shanks was going to be the problem for him to look out for, and now it's Shanks plus Luffy. And Luffy's like Conqueror's Haki when he's in Gear 5 is going crazy. Who's Shamrock matchup, Luffy, Zoro, or Dragon? Zoro. Shamrock gotta fight Zoro because Shamrock has Cerberus, which is the guardian to the underworld, and Zoro is working on becoming the king of hell. It's just, it's too perfect, right? It's too perfect. Or Shanks dies and Luffy takes on Shamrock. I do think Shanks will die. And I think Shanks is going to get killed by Blackbeard. And that's what's going to make Luffy snap and get powerful enough and surpass his limits to officially beat Blackbeard and kind of like, you know, move us into the full end game of the story. I've been feeling that for a while. I low-key thought, so hear this theory out. This is like a theory that I've been cooking since like I was in Wano. And I'm not going to die on this hill, but I still feel like there's some gems in here that might actually have something that could grow and bear fruit. Originally, my OG thought is Shanks is the final fight. Not because he's a bad guy, but because Shanks was like, hey, you know, come back to me, bring this hat back to me when you're a super lit, super cool pirate, right? And at the very end of the story, I was imagining that we've defeated all the crazy, or generally all the crazy stuff, right? Or at least Emu. Let's say we've defeated the world government and Emu and all that, right? We get to Laugh Tale. And we get to the One Piece. When we get to the One Piece, Shanks is sitting there, you know, classic sick-ass anime character got, you know, vibes, just waiting on Luffy. And he's like, man, you really have become a lit pirate, huh? And Luffy's like, fuck yeah, I have. Let's see what's up. And then they end up, you know, Shanks says, well, I'm your last task. You got to beat me. Then you can get to the One Piece. You know, and they fight not on some like villainous, like we hate each other, but like, let's just show each other how strong we really are. And they go all out. And during that fight, Luffy might be winning or losing or something, but Blackbeard sneaks in the middle of that fight while Shanks is occupied fighting Luffy and gets a sneak behind the back, gotcha kind of thing, kills Shanks, and Luffy watches that happen, and then Luffy fucking loses his mind. Like, absolutely full-blown snaps. And then we get the final fight with him and Blackbeard and all that crazy stuff. Low-key, it could be such a crazy fight that it somehow, like, destroys the One Piece and we get some wild concept of, like, the One Piece now doesn't even exist. I don't know about that. That is something I literally just thought about this second. So we'll put that off to the side. But, yeah, that's, like, a low-key theory I've been kind of cooking on for a very long time. This is pre the Shamrock reveal and the whole lineage of Shanks. So I'm not saying that that's definitely it, but something I find interesting, you know? You thought Straw Hats and Red Hair Pirates have a Roger Whitebeard clash? Exactly. And that would be super sick. The rest of the Straw Hats are fighting the rest of the Red Hairs. That'd be so dope. Everybody wonders about Shamrock's Cerberus, but forgetting about Shanks and his griffin. Exactly, though. So Shanks' sword will have a griffin, which is a clean, like, opposite to a Cerberus. I do fully agree with that. No, I'm right there with you, dude. You wouldn't want Shanks to die since you really love him, but it would make sense. Exactly, Ruby. Trust me, I don't want Shanks to die either, truly. As much as I talk shit about characters not dying in animes, I don't want them to. Just, if it makes sense, then I need it to happen, you know? But it makes too much sense for Shanks to die, dude. Too much sense. With Shanks, obviously, you don't think so. You don't think you can sneak Shanks. Dude, I think Blackbeard could because he could maybe do it out of darkness. And if Luffy is actually pushing Shanks to a good enough level to where Luffy should be able to by end game, like end game, like Luffy should be able to be taking virtually 100% of Shanks' attention because of how powerful and formidable Luffy is. And with Blackbeard being able to be within darkness and shadows, maybe there's some way that Blackbeard would actually be able to hide from Shanks' observation hockey and be able to make that happen. Blackbeard snuck Shanks before, it seems. I mean, exactly. Blackbeard was able to scar Shanks up. Like, that says a lot, dude. Blackbeard's already a problem, dude. Do I have Dragon pulling up in Elbaf? No. I don't have Dragon pulling up in Elbaf, but I do think Dragon's going to be pulling up soon. Do I think Zoro's eye has some sort of secret power or just looks cool? I really hope it's a power, man. I really hope it's a power. I hope what I'm thinking, and it's super simple and on the nose, but like, what if it's a training tactic, kind of like the way Kenpachi from Bleach wears the eye patch, not because he has a messed up eye, but the eye patch is absorbing his Ryatsu and basically weakening him to make it harder for, like, make each fight harder for him. And maybe this was part of Mihawk's training of like, hey bro, close that eye until you really need it. Like, you're fighting with both eyes, but you're not truly seeing. So if you can learn to see with one eye, then you deserve to open your second eye, kind of thing. It could be some training stuff like that. I genuinely don't know. This is really just off the top of my head yapping right there. So Cerberus is a Greek Roman guardian of hell. You think the current shift world 1 and 2 on the Harley is a parallel to Greece falling to Rome. Okay. And the current battle is the Romans versus the Egyptians, with the Griffin being the guardian of the sun god. Bro, you're cooking, Jet. Oh my god, you're cooking, brother. I love that. So Cerberus would represent the Greek-Roman pantheon, and Griffin represents Egypt, aka Alabasta. And we can continue on that line of thought with what Zen added to this theory of Typhon, with Figarlin being Typhon, the king of all monsters and the father of Cerberus within the Greek pantheon. Also the most powerful monster in the Greek pantheon that isn't a straight up god, I believe. Jet, I fucking love that theory, bro. You are cooking your life away. Thoughts on Kobe's role in future fights? We gonna get Garp back? Yes. I do think we're gonna get Garp back or come very close to it. I low-key think Kuzan's gonna break Garp out. I think Kuzan will eventually betray Blackbeard because he's gonna realize that even though Blackbeard does represent a form of freedom, he doesn't represent the type of freedom that Kuzan actually wants. I'm still like holding out hope that Kuzan's just not a bad guy, bro. It still hurts me and I'm not okay with it. So I'm definitely holding out hope. But I'm thinking Kuzan will help Blackbeard break out, and then we'll get like a crazy sword squad that includes Kuzan, Kobe, Garp, Helmeppo, all them. If Garp don't die and Kuzan takes over, he might actually become an admiral. I don't think... So I simply think no matter what, by the end of the story, the whole admiral thing and the whole world government hierarchy is going to get dissolved. So I don't think there will ever be a chance for Kuzan to become an admiral again. Because by the time we get to that, we will have defeated all the current admirals and the government system. So it'll all start collapsing. He might be a high up in whatever the post big fight world looks like. But yeah. Do I think Loki's actually a bad guy? No, I do not. Not at all, man. I think Loki is at the most a gray character. I don't think he's inherently a good guy, but I think he's been set up with all of this. I think he had to take the fall for some reason, and I think he's actually doing what he's doing to save the generality of Elbaf. And how do you think Shamrock compares to other swordmen? So, I'll say this, and this is complete and utter speculation. I have zero reason to believe it except for what's in my heart, because we genuinely do not know much about Shamrock. I think Shamrock is 100% carried by the powers that have been given to him, i.e. the Cerberus sword, whatever maybe Emu / Figarland has been able to pass down to him power-wise that we don't know just yet. I think Shamrock will not be a genuinely good swordsman. He will just have somebody with very powerful tools. You know what I'm saying? So if he does go against someone like Zoro, who is an actual swordsman who's actually been training at the craft of swordsmanship, I think he's going to lose on the simple fact of Shamrock seems to be, because he's this hoity-toity, Marie Joie going kind of guy who looks at everybody else as like the little people and the peasants and the filth and the disgusting people. I think he's the rich kid with my daddy's a lawyer, so you can kick my ass, but my daddy will sue you. He has powerful toys and powerful weapons because he's rich, but he's not actually a master of anything, or he's not genuinely good at that. I think that's what Shamrock's downfall will be. I don't know, but I have that feeling. Do I believe every time we see a sword user that is that upscales Mihawk? You don't think so? Another thing that is just frustrating about the way this story is presented, with all love to Oda still, but we don't have feats. We just don't have feats. Like, we do not know what Mihawk is really capable of. Mihawk was called the strongest swordsman in the world in early game, right? So at that point, he probably was. At that point, Zoro wasn't as strong as he is now. Shamrock probably wasn't as strong as he is now. Shanks probably wasn't as strong as he is now. Shanks was quite strong at that point, don't get me wrong. But again, Shanks is probably not nearly as much of a swordsman as Mihawk is. Like, the whole concept of, are you a swordsman or a guy who uses a sword? Kind of question. And I think Shanks is probably going to be more on the guy who uses the sword side. Mihawk is more swordsman side, right? Just like Zoro, which is why Zoro is going to end up being better than someone like Shamrock as well. But the problem is we don't have feats. And even though that they have said literally over 1,000 chapters ago that Mihawk is the greatest swordsman in the world, that doesn't inherently mean he's the greatest swordsman right now, today, in this current world. He just was when the character was introduced, and the rest of the world may not know enough yet about Zoro, definitely not knowing about Shamrock, definitely not knowing about Figarland in the way they are, because they're all shrouded in mystery. So the rest of the world would still call Mihawk the greatest swordsman in the world because they haven't heard anything different, because someone else hasn't come to take the actual title, i.e. Zoro, on the way to take the title, but he just hasn't done it yet. So I'm not saying that Mihawk is a fraud, but I just think that we just simply don't know enough to see what's up with him, I certainly don't think every time we see a new user that scales up Mihawk, though. To answer your initial question that I went on a tangent on, I do not think we're scaling Mihawk up anytime anyone else gets a feat. We're going to wrap this up now. Again, I appreciate the heck out of each and every one of you for hanging out. All my people on TikTok, thank you guys. If you're new here, drop a follow. We got all kinds of links in the bio. We got a Discord, we got a YouTube, we got a Patreon, we got all kind of content. I do these streams every single week. We normally stream One Piece on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The whole stream schedule is in the bio as well. You can see that there, but we read One Piece on Sundays, Solo Leveling on Mondays, we watch Fairy Tail on Wednesday, and we're watching Pokemon on Thursday. Vibes all day long. I appreciate y'all so damn much. I love theory crafting with you guys. I love y'all's ideas and you guys helping me with that. Let's keep cooking in the Discord, and yeah, we're gonna get to it. Tell the people you love them, touch some grass, drink some water. I'll see you next time.